Alrighty, so we're live. We're live. Let's give a couple of minutes for other people to join from the wait list. The people who registered. Meanwhile, let me represent you our my colleagues today, Felix and Mihail from Gofaizen company. Felix, Mihail, we're happy to hear you today on the webinar. If you can share a couple of words about your company, please.
Felix, may you please do this if possible?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks a lot, Karim. Felix Canizales here, associate partner of Gofaizen, and Michael Sherle, one of our partners and senior partner as well. So Gofaizen and Sherle is a legal consultancy firm with headquarters in Tallinn, Estonia. We focus on the fintech sector and a bit as well on the gambling sector. Our main expertise, I would say right now, is support our clients in regulatory processes all over the world, specifically to obtain authorization for regulated services, for instance, in the case of DASPs and other intermediates who work in the digital asset sector, right? So at the moment, we have a broad list of services that we're rendering in Europe, some in Asia, and we have presence in Latin America. Actually, me personally, I'm the head of El Salvador office, which is our first office in the American continent. So in a nutshell, that's us.
Awesome. Thanks for the short introduction. Once again, it's amazing to have you guys here today, especially taking into account the topic that we would be uncovering today. So the 2026 started, we see the regulation coming in into the market. We see a lot of players in the market, especially on the European market, are a bit struggling with what's happening, trying to adopt to the new reality. Because I mean, like, my feeling honestly is that everyone in 2025 were a bit relaxed, not paying a lot of attention to what's going to happen after the grandfather period once the MiCA is in place, right? So that is why this is the outcome that we see on the market. Probably you have a lot of clients, friends maybe, who are talking about this a lot, finding new opportunities, new ways, new rails to expand their businesses or be present on some of the jurisdictions, especially on the European Union or EEA countries. So that is the topic that we are going to be talking in regards today. Here's a short agenda for all of the attendees who we have today, for all of the viewers who we have today. We're going to go step by step, covering the most crucial, I would say, questions that are appearing in the minds of the people who are building their crypto-related business or services around this niche. So yeah, we'll start step by step. Felix, if you can give us a current market state on the 2026, where do we see the main regulatory pressure in regards to the European market? How is the current situation of received licenses, their amount, number, and jurisdictions is looking like? Please.
Hence, this is not my jurisdiction. I will let the microphone to Mihail so that maybe he can give us that overview.
Awesome.
So I think I will answer to this question more precisely. So generally, if we speak about the CASP licensing in the European Union, now we have created some statistics here, and it's quite interesting that most of CASPs at the moment they are registered in Germany. Germany is, like, in general, Germany is not the favorable jurisdiction actually. Don't need go so far.
Yeah.
So I would say that
No
Germany is
problems.
not
I love it.
so favorable jurisdiction for fintech in most cases. But German regulator was approaching crypto assets service providers previously as mostly as investment firms. So generally, when you intend to operate, no, before even before MiCA, when you wanted to operate in Germany and if you wanted to be licensed in Germany, there was quite strict approach, and it was like no, like for investment firms actually for other type of licensing. So, and to transform this investment firms actually into CASPs was quite no, simple idea because they were already licensed as investment firms and therefore they were compliant with most of requirements which exist in the whole financial sector. So I think it's the main reason why Germany so let's say successful in the number of CASPs here. However, other jurisdictions are more slow. So, considering the how much licenses they have issued, and from no, which is interesting that jurisdictions where a lot of crypto asset service providers previously registered, no, virtual asset service providers actually. Now, these jurisdictions not in the top. First of all, it's such countries as Czech Republic, for example, or Poland or Lithuania, where no, like a lot of different WASPs registered. Like there were in Czech
Mhm.
Republic, there were around 4,000 of these entities before MiCA came into force. But now they are quite slow. Poland even not introduced the law implementing the MiCA regulation into the local legislation. So still they going to be quite conservative. I may assume that it's due to various reasons, including the fact that if you have a lot of WASPs, then obviously a lot of these companies intend to apply, and you have the quite big administrative burden for these applications and for answering these applications. Even if they are not prepared enough, it still takes time to answer all them to process this properly.
Mikhail, that was actually sorry, but if you don't
Yes.
mind, I'll be asking some sort of questions that might be interesting for me first of all, and for our audience. There was a question actually in regards to the Poland in terms of their current situation. I do agree with you that this is probably Poland has the most tightened market in regards to the number of the VASPs that were registered there. And can you give us a bit of a light on what is going on Poland? Because I know that a lot of Lithuanian VASPs were switched to their Polish entities in December 31st. There were a lot of notifications that were coming to my inbox, especially because I was a user, obviously, of some of the solutions that were based on the Lithuanian VASP. But do you know if they would accept the terms and regulations of the MiCA? How is it going to be in Poland in the future?
No, shortly speaking, in Poland we have the big issue here with the implementation of the law, where part of Polish government, let's say that parliament, intends to create the law which quite conservative, so which doesn't allow so much market participants to the Polish market. But a president of Poland has another opinion, and so we have this classical issue when the parliament and president like arguing with each other. and they still have no law implemented, and there is no understanding when exactly it will happen. So most probably it will happen no, somewhere in spring, but I'm not sure actually when exactly it happens. Which is also interesting here that if Poland doesn't implement the law, so this MiCA regulation becomes directly applicable. So it
Right.
means that if there is no local law with implementation of MiCA, there still will be possibility to apply and to update license to CASP, but it just will be regulated solely by European Union law and regulatory practice. We had actually in Europe such examples previously. Well, for example, in Estonia with crowdfunding service providers, it was done this way that there was no law, but financial supervisory authority just have taken the relevant regulation, and it was all. So with Poland, unfortunately, it remains unclear for me as well when we will have some basic understanding. So when what will happen there, but
But
still,
how are the
yes.
VASPs that were switched to the Polish uh, entity is able to serve their clients? Is it the reverse solicitation that is taking place right now for these VASPs, or
No, there is no passporting for WASP. We should understand this. So if we don't and if we speak about MiCA regulation, so if we don't qualify a specific entity as crypto as a service provider, and there's very clear criteria when we can qualify such entity as crypto as a service provider. So otherwise, it may be not like there is no direct allowance somehow to offer services in other jurisdictions. So and I think like there is no passporting still at all. So if you
yeah,
have the information, if you have the entity in Poland and you intend to provide services, for example, to in Germany or in any
yeah,
other jurisdiction, so where your clients may be located, it may be considered as breach of applicable legislation. So,
yeah,
and moreover, which is quite important, it will be considered a breach by the country where your client is located. So to understand, so how exactly specific country treats no, such WASPs which exist in the Europe, but which has no passporting rights for other countries. So the main question is, so how supervisory authority will treat such entities. But I would prefer to choose conservative approach where we don't offer such services to foreign clients from Poland at least. So it may be quite problematic to speak with supervision authorities after, even with Polish
yeah.
supervision authority.
Especially when you're planning to get passportized for the MiCA in the future.
Generally, I would say yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was about Poland, but about general so picture is the CASP what we have at the moment in place with heat map. It is generally as it was previously seen, and no, mostly there will be tier 2 CASPs because tier 2 CASP is crypto custody and exchange. Actually, transfer services without these two like core services mostly are not in not in the business model of most of
hmm
CASPs. So exchange and transfers and exchange and custody services remains like more popular services, and it's clear that if we speak about number of CASPs, there will be more tier 2 CASPs than tier 3, which is like mostly for bigger platforms, and more than tier 1, which certainly like there are very specific business models may apply there. Okay, so No, if we speak about the activities which CASP performs, there is certainly custody, exchange they are in the top. So generally transfer also. So custody, exchange, transfer will be like most popular activities all the time. I think there's nothing changes. Um, Interesting that providing portfolio management for crypto assets no will be quite interesting service because there's not so much infrastructure actually needed for providing portfolio management and advice of crypto assets. And no, it's interesting in which jurisdictions such no, fund managers or asset managers will have their companies, because at the moment there is quite strict requirements for infrastructure. So you need too many people
That's
actually
true.
for running such entity. And if you just like sole entrepreneur with no, even with normal proper risk management, so still it is not very economically feasible to hold the CASP license no, as for one specific business for no for portfolio management and for asset and for advice on crypto asset. So if you think about the countries, so generally it's like quite in line with what I've said previously. So most of countries have tier 2 WASPs, and oh, I think it's quite obvious. So
May I ask
yes,
one more question in regards to the previous slide,
yes.
if I may?
Mhm.
How do you think? Why is the pace, like the speed of approval of the CASPs, varies on the from jurisdiction to jurisdiction? So, for example, we see that in Sweden or on Malta, the amount of the CASPs that were approved on the previous year is significantly lower than in Germany and Netherlands altogether. Do you think it is because the readiness of the regulatory authorities, local authorities of each jurisdiction, or
Uh, I think that the number of CASPs very depends on how friendly business environment is in general, and so we should also assess how much CASPs were there before MiCA
Mhm.
regulation. So because for Germany we had a lot of investment firms there even before, and the fact that they successfully like passed the transition procedure, it's no quite like that was predictable. But no, which is interesting here as well, like that there is no countries where was too easy to receive the license. So what here is,
I
I
would
think
agree.
it's yes, there is like no Bulgaria, for example, they had not so strict regulation, but even there is not so much of cusps at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, we can see by the numbers. That's true. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh, by the way, Netherlands, for example, they had very good and no clear regulatory framework for crypto asset service providers before MiCA came into force, and same with Ireland, for example. So they did this almost completely same as for electronic money institutions, and
Yeah,
it also like was one of way of success for for new market participants, because it's already like a clear process
aligned. Yeah,
for them.
aligned, clear. Yeah, yeah. Agree, agree.
Mhm. Uh, okay, so not generally, it's almost same statistics if we speak about different CASPs types. I think that this will actually remain the same if we speak about the future. So this distribution between tiers will remain the same, because no, actually tier 1 CASPs are quite rare. Interesting why it's in Slovenia this way, because I've not investigated much. So what kind of CASPs are there? But it's interesting that there's a lot of tier 1 CASPs for some reason.
Yeah.
Mm, So if you speak about major players in crypto markets, so most of major players, they received licenses somewhere and continue working. So if we speak about Revolut, it was received in Cyprus, for example, Coinbase in Ireland. Binance, actually, I'm not sure if they received.
I think that they did not
Well,
receive.
maybe it was in Latvia, actually. I'm not 100% sure. But let's say that the market of crypto as a service providers and crypto services in European Union will be consolidating. So there will remain less players, but these players certainly become bigger than we have at the moment, because this narrative just continues, where firms with too low budgets or too low level of knowledge just don't pass licensing. So, no, but yeah, I think it's good in general. It will be like better for the market and for consumer protection, first of all.
There's 100%. It just means that there will be more companies that are more sustainable, means more safe for the holdings of the clients, which is a good effect on the crypto market. That is for sure.
Okay, so if we speak about survival strategies, so what to do and how to do, which is important actually, which no, we all speaking about reverse solicitation as one of survival strategy here. But no, let's say that it's not only one which may be applied here, because look, for example, recently we investigated if it is possible to use agent model for crypto asset service providers, how it is working for EMI, for example, when you find the license at EMI and then you just act as agent of this EMI. So generally EMI provides you license, takes all the compliance burden to you, but all related to marketing, for example, and
You basically act
targeting
like a
customers.
referral, right? You basically act like a referral in this case.
No, not really, because actually, when you act as electronic money institution agent, you also take part of administrative tasks for clients onboarding, for example, or for collection of documents in certain extent.
Mhm.
So yes, there is certain control from EMI, but still you may have customer support specialists or people who in sales who are responsible for clients acquiring. So let's say that it's not like referral when we just refer and then we just drop the client to the EMI. So generally, yes, there was such model for electronic money institutions, but which is important here is that unfortunately there is no such possibility for crypto asset service providers right now. So ESMA, this supervisory authority, at least they have issued information that there is no way to provide services through such means. But I think that it's also one of the ways which should be investigated, maybe additionally, and there may be found some possibilities how to act actually. But yes, and next one is reverse solicitation and documenting this reverse solicitation. Recently, how recently, April 2025, after guidelines were issued, we also issued the guideline on reverse solicitation. So we have provided examples and how exactly reverse solicitation may be organized. I would say that it may be quite quite complicated to organize reverse solicitation, because even if you provide, for example, one of services, you can't provide other services to the same client. There is very limited possibilities to provide services to such clients. However, if you document this properly and if your service is mostly as one-time nature, let's say that no, most popular, which example here is crypto acquiring, like when you just process one-time payment of the customer, just one time, no, just sell them crypto one time and so one time send this crypto as part of the
Yeah.
service, for example, to third party to your merchant. So generally, yes, it's not theoretically possible. And but main concern here and my long-term strategy here, I think, is to have the good framework for documenting all this. When supervisory authority comes to you, you should be able to explain why you think that you are not soliciting European clients. But let's say,
Let's also just shortly cover what is the reverse solicitation in its nature. I may cover this, but from your words, that's going to be more. That's going to sound more professional for those users who are not aware what is the reverse solicitation.
I maybe I didn't understand your question, but you
Like,
mean how
yeah,
we
what is
define
the?
this in general?
Yes,
Ah,
yes,
okay. In general, so reverse solicitation we define as a situation where you have the opportunity to provide service to the client, which is located in jurisdiction where in no, in other case you should have the license and try to provide the service. But if client found you like by their own initiative and there is no direct marketing from your side, or there is no possibility to somehow to provide proofs that you have invited this client to receive the service, in such case, you may serve this client and may have such opportunity without any legal implications after.
but as you're saying, you may serve this client just once, right? It's like one of a time action.
Um, uh, Actually, the main issue here is not to serve client one time, but the fact that you can provide a client other services. So let's say if client came to you to buy, I don't know, USDC or BTC, and you sold him this crypto asset. If client goes and asks, but you can't offer at the same time to him other crypto assets for sale, and you can
Yes.
and actually if at the first time client came to your website, for example, completely from no from some source, which you don't know, and
Yeah.
bought USDC, but from this part, if you have like some marketing material on your website where it's written that okay, we are also selling BTC, so actually here here is the issue that when you already know that this client is from Europe, so and you offering him this service that okay, we are selling BTC here, and client decides to receive this service. Here may be issues that you can't provide actually legally this service already.
But can I give just one example? For example, I have a exchange that is not under MiCA yet, so I didn't receive the MiCA yet, and I have onboarded the client. He agreed to the terms of use, where I state that if you are from the jurisdiction that is under the MiCA regulatory regime, you proceeding further by your own risk, right? So I'm trying to negotiate this part in my
Uh,
terms and conditions. And
uh,
of course, on my exchange, I have various variety of the services. Like you can buy BTC, swap it to another cryptocurrency, do another deposit, the repeatable actions. What would be applied to me in this case? Will I be fined or?
no, let's say if it will be only one client and there will be no issue with that client, most probably no one noticed this. In most cases, it works this way. But let's say that if even if you have the terms and conditions and disclaimers that okay, this service is not intended for European clients, and you confirm that you are not European clients, was not solicited by us, etc. theoretically it gives you some better position if supervision authority comes to you. But here's also other means for risk management, because if you have like 100 client base of European clients and any of them just confirms that, okay, I'm not European client, it will be the issue. So let's say that if there is not so much of these clients, and if there is certain restrictions for these clients established, for example, if you don't allow European Union IPs, for example, for accessing your website, if client uses VPN, okay,
Mm,
generally it's fine. Like if no, it works actually. A good example here, I think, like no financial services maybe not so popular, but a good example here is casinos and gambling, online gambling,
yes.
where
Yeah.
yes, generally yes, you are not permitted to solicit and to play from a certain jurisdiction. But if a player comes to you from a jurisdiction by using VPN, for example, it is already not so complicated for them. But you should not promote the VPN on your website, of course.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
another part,
like
I think,
like
of the
like the website
specific here.
is not available in your jurisdiction, please use VPN. Yeah, that's not something
No,
that's
yes,
that
it's
you would
like
do.
no, it's certainly not how we should do this. But yes, for no, generally it's how it works here.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. And so why it is risky in the long-term strategy? Let's assume that I have some sort of proportion of the European clients and non-European clients. So it's 20% of the European clients, let's say, and 80% of the clients from another jurisdictions. What is my risk on the long-term strategy?
No, your risk is long-term strategy that you are providing the unlicensed services in European Union, which affect your business reputation, first of all, business reputation of your management and your company as whole. So if you in at some time intend to uh, go to European markets, so it certainly will be assessed. It's also important to know that if we speak about CASP licensing, regulators pay quite much attention to your previous activity. So if you have if you had CASP or WASP or some financial institution previously in other jurisdictions, so certain activity in this jurisdiction will be also assessed. And so such behavior like soliciting clients for European Union may may be quite dangerous for success of the CASP license. Also, I would say that we faced a little bit different issue also when at the moment, if you have, for example, European entity and you intend to go somewhere outside European Union and offer services no, from other entity outside European Union. So such transferring the client base most probably may be also considered as solicitation.
Yeah,
No, it's what I've recently consulted clients, not no more than one time certainly, because no, the generally just to change the legal entity from European to non-European will be not the good idea as well, because if you are under the monitoring or supervisory authority of your where this European entity was established, in such case it may be an issue in the future.
yeah, yeah. Would agree on that. Anyways, we need to play and look for the long-term strategy, and that's the something temporary that we can take advantage of. I mean the reverse solicitation, but yeah, for the long term, we better do something else.
Mhm. So I think it's all
And
about the reverse solicitation. So and if you speak about alternatives, so maybe
yes,
changing market, maybe alternative, and so I think that Felix may proceed with description of other markets here. Felix?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot, Michael. Well, so as you are speaking right now, Europe
has a couple of challenging situation, right, in regards to this license. So, of course, there are other alternatives as well. At last, crypto is a very globalized market, so it allows you to both render services from different spots in the world, right? So the idea right now is, and well, you have also the reverse solicitation tool that we already spoke on risk and pros and cons about it. So the idea now is to describe a couple of alternatives that we're seeing that are very used in the market right now. You'll say that are trendy, if you say, and might have very interesting benefits um, for our clients and anyone else that's involved in crypto services, right? So basically, we have focused on three. First is Canada, the US, and El Salvador. So the idea will be to briefly describe these three license schemes, and then, well, we can dive deep about questions about them, how they work, how we can converge them with EU, right, and so on. So I will start with El Salvador, just because it's my jurisdiction, specifically where we are located, and also because of um, the recent news that have been done here in this regard. So basically, El Salvador is a country in Central America that embraced crypto regulation very early on. In 2021, the Bitcoin law was issued that basically established Bitcoin as legal tender and includes a regime for people that want to be intermediaries in the Bitcoin sector. And then in 2023, we got the digital asset issuance law, which encompasses the most broad license that includes not just uh, crypto assets, but also crypto derivatives as well. Under this scheme, there's also a fiscal benefit regime for activities for for the performance of these license activities, right? Maybe the three most important advantages of El Salvador license are, well, first, we have a very explicit and clear legal framework for this. So people can can plan ahead and expect what to receive on these regards. The second one is well, the fiscal benefits that we're talking about, right, and other inclusions in the law. For example, the fact that crypto assets are not regulated as securities, and the law is super explicit about it. Also, there's no limitation on where you're rendering the services. So, if you get the Salvador
Mhm.
license from El Salvador jurisdiction, you won't get any type of limitation to render services abroad. Um, and also, we got a new regulator that was created just for this, so that the regulation and supervision of these type of entities can be done in accordance with best practices, but that it doesn't also kind of mix up with the regular financial system that has a lot of brick and mortar processes that in some way make the supervision and regulation very burdensome. So that's the second, and the final one is well, the ecosystem that we have right now in the country. Lots of big players have come here to establish their operations since the start. We got all the big ones: Binance, Bitget, Bybit, and recently Tether established their headquarters in El Salvador, right? So that creates a very dynamic ecosystem here that that more and more people are taking advantage of, right? So that's one. The other one is the US. So the US has a very interesting regulation in these regards. You know that, well, the US in in time hasn't been the most crypto friendly country in the world, right? However, with the change of administration, I would say that this also had a very important impact on them. And basically, they got so the regulation for crypto related services is encompassed within two types of licenses. The first one and the broader one is an MSB, Money Service
Yeah.
Business License. So the money service business license allows you to perform crypto activities like the transfer of crypto, exchange for other for fiat currencies, the holding of crypto, um, and is a federal license. This one is obtained before FinCEN. FinCEN is the AML regulator of the United States. Um, and well allows you to perform these services within the states and also abroad. It doesn't have any type of limitation in these regards.
Mm,
um, However, we need to take into account the second licensing scheme that the US has. Specifically, they got a federal regulation and a state based regulation. So if you would like to render crypto services in within the US, you also need to go through a money transmitter license.
yeah.
This money transmitter license is something that you need to obtain in each of the states that you are intending to market on, right? Right now, I think that there's 48 states that already have a license. And for instance, companies as Coinbase or PayPal, they have an MTL license in each of the states. However, for small enterprises, and honestly for most of the clients, this is going to be super super expensive because you need to maintain a kind of a fine before US banks that the amount varies depending on the states. There are states that are $4,000, um, and for others there is $1 million. So what we usually recommend is to get the license for I would say a simple MTL license, that the ones that are the cheapest and the most easy to get, and use this one to operate abroad. Right, that's possible, and it's also very beneficial because the US has these tax interpretation where if your income is considered a non-connected income, well basically you don't have to pay taxes in the US. So
Mhm.
how would this work? To give you an example, if the shareholders of the company, the employees of the company, the suppliers of the company, and the customers of the company are not in within the US, then that is considered as a non-connected income, and therefore you are not obliged to pay taxes there. You need to do the declarations, of course, but you don't need to pay any type of taxes. This is huge
Is
because
it something like
basically
the Hong Kong, right? Like, because Hong Kong does not require you to pay any taxes on the abroad income, on the income from abroad. So it's something like similar to that.
very similar, very similar. Exactly. Always, but for instance, there's a caveat here, right? Because if you're getting income from abroad, but you have a US citizen as a shareholder, then you need to pay taxes. You're not able to get these it's not an exemption, but to get this non-connected classification, right?
Hmm.
So a bit more complex, but for instance, let's say in the context that we were speaking about, which is for alternatives for European clients, this is super
Yeah.
valuable because, well, they're not US citizens, right? So yeah, it's a plus. And finally, we got Canada. Canada has a very similar scheme as the US, with a couple of changes, but they also their license is also called MSB, Money Service Business License,
Yeah.
and is obtained before FinTrack. FinTrack is also the AML regulator of Canada. However, they do make a distinction. They have a MSB, like Money Service Business license, and they also have a foreign money service business license, right? So the difference between these is what's your target, right? if you want to target Canadian citizens, Canadian clients, then you need to go with the regular MSB, which of course also encompass a more thorough process to go through, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
You need to have offices, you need to have local presence, and so on. On the other side, if you go for the foreign MSB, you are not targeting Canadian clients. You're just targeting clients from abroad. And well, the amount of requirements and the thoroughness in the process it's also simplified as well. So in a nutshell, that are the three that I would say uh, three alternatives that we have found that are very valuable for our clients, especially our European clients that are looking for other ways to keep their business going. They are, well, of course, maybe from the three, El Salvador is not a tier one jurisdiction. However, in the crypto side has become very reputable. So we're not talking here about offshore licenses. We're talking about licenses that have a man of reputation and well, and an interesting market and ecosystem to work with, right? So,
I
so
would
yeah,
also say, yeah, I would also say that of course these jurisdictions will allow you to have a better partnership. We're not even covering the offshore in this manner because with offshore type of the license or the entity, you cannot build any reputation, just like you mentioned, Felix, and you cannot get any decent service provider that can come as additional layer of your infrastructure or the service layer. So. Just to summarize, Canada, United States, Salvador, these are three alternatives that you see where you can actually register as a MSB or in El Salvador, how did you call it?
a DASP, digital asset service provider.
A DASP, and serve basically globally clients.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. And if we're talking about the ease of the registration process, settlement process in the jurisdiction, what you would highlight from these three: Canada, U.S., or El Salvador? What is it easier to start?
Well, I would say that the one that has less regulatory barriers is the US. Is the license that takes the least amount of time. Of course, there's a couple of things to consider, which is basically what state are you gonna choose to get the MTL. But if you choose something very simple like Montana, for example, the process might take you between 2 to 3 months to get your license. Once you got your license, you can get a U.S. bank account, which that's huge because well, you're connected to Swift there. So
Yep.
I would say that the easiest one is the U.S. However, the broader license, the ones that gives you the most amount of capabilities to do, for instance, the opportunity of work with derivatives, the opportunity of get fiscal benefits. It will be a Salvador
El
license.
Salvador.
However, it's a bit more complex. It's a license that might take between 6 to 8 months to get. That's also a similar time for Canada. It's around 9 months the whole process. However, in El Salvador, as mentioned, you can work with derivatives. You get fiscal benefits. Um, the minimum capital you have to have is very minimal. That's the same case for both the US and Canada as well. Their minimum capital is not so huge. However, in El Salvador, you can work within or outside El Salvador. Of course, El Salvadoran market is not so attractive, just 6 million people, right? But you got that possibility.
The last question from me, though, in regards to that part, as El Salvador to be exact, are there any like the question is, what is the regulatory framework that they apply to all of the DASPs that are willing to register? Any sort of restrictions or requirements to the infrastructure or the software or the company that provides you with the software? I do assume that you need to have a local office there with the local people that are in charge of the main processes, like COO, for example, operational director, compliance for sure. Is it something similar to what we observe on the European market with the MiCA right now, or is it something
Yes,
different?
yes, it's something similar but simplified. For instance,
Hmm.
well, you don't need to have a local office, but you need to have a local address. That's for sure.
Hmm.
However, that services can be rendered is usually rendered by the uh, legal provider that's rendering with the incorporation services and all. You need to incorporate a Salvadoran company. That's necessary. Um, for which there's no restriction on the citizenship or the residency of the shareholders.
Hmm.
Um, you also need what you will need locally is to have at least two compliance officers that must be
Hmm.
local, that means must reside in El Salvador and comply with certain requirements. For instance, have an AML certification, 2+ years of experience, a bachelor degree from a university, and so on. And these persons can just work for you. Like they cannot be compliance officers for
Yeah,
you and for other five
like a
companies.
part
No, just
time.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, what else? Well, on regards to the platform, so that's a bit that's important. So the regulator will require you for the process to already have a working platform. You don't need to have a final version yet. For instance, you can present a demo of what it's going to be. Especially this demo would be to be able to showcase what's your KYT solution, what's your KYC solution, how are you managing it, if you're using third party service, self-develop, and so on. So they put a big emphasis on this. Actually, this is the first filter because in the DAS license process, there's three phases, and the first phase is the one where the infrastructure is reviewed. If you don't move forward with the infrastructure, well, you are not
For
going through
sure.
the next steps, right? So that's an important point. Um, and on regards to local presence, no, your CEO, your COO, your CTO, anyone from the directors can be abroad. There's no issue on there.
Hmm.
Always that you have your local compliance officers. That at least there must be two.
That's two people. Yeah, but that's pretty much simpler than the European than MiCA.
Definitely,
That is true.
definitely.
That is true.
Definitely.
Becoming,
No,
becoming. Yeah. Yeah.
also the capital requirements are much more much more down to earth, I would say, because you just need the minimum capital for the company, which is $2,000. So that's fairly low especially in comparison to Europe, right? So and also your ongoing expenses won't be so hefty. Like you got the requirement of have an external auditor. You must have local accounting as well. But summing up, that will cost you, I would say, the entire maintenance of the company, including the renewal of the license, which must be done every year. Uh, and just for governmental fees um, and for instance the auditor and so on, not talking about legal fees here, uh would cost you around 10K a year, which is
Oh,
not
it, it,
so
it,
hefty.
it's not even comparable with the European. It's with the MiCA or any European jurisdiction. I would like to read out loud the questions from the audience that we have because we're a bit short on time. If you don't mind, probably the
Yeah,
first two questions are gonna be addressed to Mikhail because I think we forgot about you for quite a while already. So the first question is going to be from Ilya or Ilis. Sorry. Good afternoon. How does the regulator view peer-to-peer crypto exchanges? Does the regulator differentiate between crypto exchange and the peer-to-peer crypto exchanges? Are they willing to issue licenses for peer-to-peer crypto exchange platforms? You're on mute. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, so I think the main question here is so how to operate on Binance or in other platforms where for P2P trading they're requesting license in the jurisdiction. So shortly speaking, yes, you need the license because when you no, in fact, actually, I understand that it's not possible to receive the license if you're like a small P2P trader. But according to the current legislation, so such license will be required if you trade on your behalf. So generally, yes, the fact that you have, like, for example, a crypto asset wallet on Binance and you trade with no, some clients on P2P marketplace, it doesn't affect the substance of your service. So you still performing crypto exchange service in the meaning of MiCA regulation. And yes, you will need P2. No, in such case, you will need crypto asset service provider's license. What
So
may be yes,
mhm.
maybe solution here? If no, I don't know such solution at the moment, but if we will have the CASP, which like hire you for trading P2P on behalf of this CASP on Binance, it's theoretically possible. We can like hire thousands of agents, and each of them will just use their part of their own infrastructure. But I'm not sure how it's possible and how it may be economically feasible. But it's I think it's only way. Like we still need CASP for providing this type of services. So unfortunately, yes, P2P will be considered as crypto asset service in the course of MiCA.
Yeah, however, I do assume that you cannot do some sort of a markups on the FX rates, like euro dollar, for example. So yeah, the margin gets really low on that type of the service because you cannot fool. You need to state a transparent fees and real values of any asset that is tradable. The second question also goes to you, Mihail. We're seeing cases where entities with the operational and compliance capacity to act as a CASPs are facing long regulatory review timelines with MiCA license applications still pending. Under MiCA, can a company that does not yet hold a CASP license offer crypto services via a licensed partner acting as a regulated service provider? This is, by the way, something that you covered, that it is not yet seems
So
real, right?
let's say that outsourcing. So let's say that we hire company, so crypto asset service provider hires company for performing some specific duties is theoretically possible, but not as agent. So there should be no like separate branding or separate marketing channels for such activity. So most probably there will be no way like just to connect another CASP to your website and to operate on behalf of this CASP, taking into account your own infrastructure. But no, it very depends on how deep you are connected with this CASP, which license you are using. So in the course of outsourcing, I think it may be possible, but it's not so economically feasible in most cases, unfortunately.
In this case, you would need to definitely do the revenue share model or the markup model. Anything on top of the clients that you bring on the table, so called. Is it also something that can be defined via the I don't know, a partnership, commercial agreement between the licensed entity, CASP, and I don't know, some company A that acts as an agent?
Most probably no. If you no, it really depends on which what kind of marketing you are using. So if you using your own brand, no. If you are using this Casper brand, yes. But no, it's I think the main issue here is like if you want to develop your brand, so it's not so good to pay for marketing of
Yeah.
another brand.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you. And now the question to Felix in regards to El Salvador. Hey, Felix, if we have a license in El Salvador, what kind of a clients can we have just from El Salvador, or we can offer our services to another country, which we already covered, I assume.
But Gali, we can expand. So basically, according to Salvadorian license, you can have clients from anywhere, right? Of course, you need to take into consideration avoiding gray listed and blacklisted countries, right? That's a standard. But aside from that, from a Salvador perspective, you can attend clients from anywhere.
Awesome. Yeah. And we already did some sort of a comparison, El Salvador to MiCA, and it seems really more attractive having a license in El Salvador. Guys, we've done just on time. Huge thanks to you, Felix and Mikhail, for attending this amazing webinar covering the hot topics. I don't know what about you guys, but we receiving a lot of questions from our prospects, clients in regards to the new era, new rules. What should we do? I think that we've gathered a lot of valuable information today. For all who left with us, do not forget that you can book a meeting with us at Simplify Labs or with Felix and Mihail to cover any additional questions that you might have that we didn't cover maybe today. So yeah, do not hesitate to drop us a line, book a call if you have any additional questions. Felix, Mihail, do you want to say something?
Thank you for participation and inviting. So thank you.
Likewise.
Amazing.
So just thank you, Karim and Simplify Labs for the space.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I hope this is not the last. This is definitely not the first and not the last time we interacting with each other. It is. I'm super happy to have this type of partners, I would say, on board. So yeah, let's see what 2026 will bring for us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful day
Have a
ahead.
great one.
Speak.